Shabbat Shalom. You know, I used to have this thing that used to make Rabbi Lockheim crazy, because when the congregation would be talking and I would try to get people's attention, I'd go Shabbat Shalom, and 3 people would say Shabbat Shalom, and the people in the back were wandering around having a conversation. I'd say, "Can you hear me in the back?" And they'd go, "Yes," and I'd say, "Well, I can hear you too." And he thought I was being a little mean, so I won't do that anymore, but you can know I'm thinking it sometimes. Let's start with a song that we all know, page 323. This is the song that welcomes the Shabbat angels back to our house. And the story goes that if you come home and the angels follow you and they look in your window and they see that your table is set and you're ready for Shabbat, the good angel says, "May every Shabbat be as this one," and the bad angel has to say, "Amen." But if you come home and your laundry is on the table and it's a mess, then the bad angel gets to say, "May every Shabbat be as this one," and the good angel says, "Amen." So we sing this because the angels accompany us from services every Friday night and see if we're ready for Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Neshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I could hear you too. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome. I want to absolutely welcome those in the sanctuary and those who are watching on Zoom and Facebook. And I do just want to share that I realize people are here for different reasons today. Some are in mourning, some are here to feel joy. I had a very beautiful experience at Chuck Whitehill's funeral today, where even though I was over at Anshe Israel and Cantor Cohen was co-officiating with Rabbi Metz, I saw the whole fabric of the Tucson Jewish community coming together and supporting each other. That was really, really beautiful. So to come back here this evening and feel that community support is truly wonderful to feel as we touch down here in Tucson. We're going to call forward Ruth Reiter to light the Shabbos candles.
Page 3. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May your worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Thank you. There's no light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. This is a poem by Chaim Nachman Bialik on page 10. החמה מראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה, הנה היא יורדת הקדושה הברוכה, ועמה מלאכים צבא שלום ומנוחה. בואי בואי המלכה, בואי בואי הכלה, שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השלום.
As we approach the moment to welcome the Shabbos bride, I think of what the bride represents, Shekhinah, mostly the female presence of God, sometimes the male. And the thing with that aspect of God, it's the aspect of God which is closest to the earthly realm. And so when we chant Lecha Dodi, sing that beautiful melody, then we know that heaven is slightly closer to earth in that moment.
Lecha Dodi, page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el המייוחד Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila, Lecha dodi, Likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi, Likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshavat techila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Hitoreri, hitoreri, Ki va'orech kumi uri, 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 shir daberi, Kvod Adonai alayich nigla, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala,
B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise. Bo'ii v'shalom, ateret bala, Gam b'simcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula. Bo'ii chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated.
Something Cantor Cohen said last week reminded me of a story, the idea that the mourners are invited at the end of Lecha dodi into the room. At this point in the service, we're trying to get somewhat to a stage where we're throwing off the shackles of the week. And some of the hits that we've taken in the past week and hoping to get to a sense of peace. My family and I were in Morocco one Shabbat, and a man who had just lost his father entered the synagogue in that northern city of Agadir just at that moment of Lecha dodi. No one went up to him to wish him long life or happy memories. Instead, they just gave him a big hug, said Shabbat Shalom, and hoped that the soothing of Shabbat would heal his soul.
It says that the righteous bloom like a date palm and they thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. At the bottom of page 22, Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizke, ay, Tzadik Katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizke, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, איי, צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה. הודינו דשנים רננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו, איי איי איי, צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, איי איי איי, צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה.
Would everyone please read the dramatic words of Psalm 93 with me? We say on page 23, Adonai is sovereign. God is robed in grandeur. Adonai is robed. God is girded with strength. The world stands firm. It cannot be shaken. Your throne stands firm from of old. From eternity you have existed. The ocean sounds, Adonai. The ocean sounds its thunder. The ocean sounds it pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea, is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times.
Page 26. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayeichom uvyomeichom uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvizman karif deimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach leolam u'l'olamei olmaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei de Kudesha Brichu Le'ela min kol birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran be'alma Ve'imeru Amen. We rise for the Baruchu. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Page 30, we say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvidvuna mishana etim, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue together, the top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam libanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Let's pray responsively in the middle of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
Your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one, at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedava kodesh Nora tehilot hoseh pelet Nora tehilot hoseh pelet malchutcha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Zei anu ve'omeru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Ve'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Poetic reflection on Shabbat. Today is forever. I stroll often in a nearby park, old trees wildly overgrown, bushes and flowers blooming all 4 seasons. A creek babbling childishly over pebbles, a small bridge with rough-hewn railings. This is my little park. It's mild and gentle in the breath, song of the park, and good to catch some gossip from the flutterers and flyers. Leaning on the railing of the bridge, seeing myself in clear water, I ask, little stream, will you tumble and flow here forever? The creek babbles back, laughing. Today is forever. Forever is right now. I smile, a spark full of believing, a sigh full of not believing. Today is forever. Forever is right now.
Page 44.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. מקדשי שביעי שבת שבת כולם יספרו ויתנו מטובך שבת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. השביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg. Zecher Maseh v'Reshit Shabbat. Shabbat. Zecher Maseh v'Reshit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg.
We move towards the Amidah. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will.
We rise. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah livnei b'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia, U'morid hatah, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidam elach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Take some time for ourselves until page 62.
קודשנו במצוותיך, כי בתורתך Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol ha-shalom, ki ata hu melech Adon, lechol ha-shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
In a few minutes, we'll have our Misha Berach, our healing prayer. And so for those of you who are watching on Zoom or Facebook, now would be the time to write the name of your beloved who might need extra support and strength in the Zoom chat or the Facebook comment section so that we can read them in a few moments. And in the meantime, I will invite Betty Donskoy to come up here to give our drush.
Shabbat Shalom. The Torah portion for this week is Chukat, which means ritual law. Although this Torah portion deals with important events such as Miriam's death, then Aaron's, and the fact that Moses himself will not reach the promised land, what I want to focus on this evening is boundaries. For the ritual law describes what actions should be taken after contact with a dead body, or human bones, or a grave. It is clear from this portion that a dead body is considered impure, and the ritual laws are designed to purify. So there is a clear distinction between the impure and the pure. There is a clear boundary. In many ways, boundaries help us to live. We're able to compartmentalize and know quickly what we need to do. But is it sometimes appropriate to do something a little different based on seeing the grays of situations? I would contend that life is not always black and white. The idea of boundaries is in the liturgy. There's a prayer, which we said tonight, that contains the line, "You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day and night, and distinguishing one from the other." Times in Judaism are precise. Shabbat begins at a certain time, and Havdalah, which means in Hebrew separation, begins at another precise time. There are sharp boundaries. A person is Jewish or Gentile. Food is either kosher or non-kosher. But what about expanding our view of kosher to consider how an animal is raised or slaughtered? Some people keep ethical kosher. And in another variation, I myself don't mix most meats with dairy, but allow myself poultry with dairy, because poultry does not lactate, and eating poultry and dairy therefore does not go against the prohibition in Torah of boiling a kid in its mother's milk. I like the mindfulness that is promoted by thinking, making a decision, and then carrying it out with intention or kavanah. I see boundaries as guides to help us make decisions. But I also think that boundaries can evolve.
Thank you so much, Betty. I'm going to particularly focus tomorrow morning on the boundary between life and death, so I appreciate you bringing up the theme. We're going to take a moment for our healing prayer. We were just conferring there. It's all good. We do want to mention in particular the names that were added to our list through our online presence, Rob Herbst, Barry Goldberg, Judith. We also mention the people of Highland Park who were injured in the shooting. If there's anyone here in the sanctuary who'd like to add a name for healing, someone who needs extra support, to reach out to them, please make yourself known to me so I can call on you. Yes, Alan. Thank you. Thank you.
And the family of Chuck Whitehill. The words to Misha Berach are on page 253. Please rise. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
It's really beautiful to see the groups of people holding hands and swaying together from my vantage point. There's a brilliant fiction writer at work today called Michael Chabon, and usually his novels have Jewish content. His book from a few years ago, The Yiddish Policeman's Union, even references this week's Torah portion, Chukat. You can see some nods of recognition in the congregation. Compare notes later. The novel's set in a dystopian future whereby the fledgling state of Israel has been destroyed in 48 and a mass settlement for Jews has been set up in Alaska, a chilling alternate universe. And the Jews in Alaska try to work out how to live as Jews in this new reality. The hero of the book is Meir Landsman, a hard-bitten, tough detective. Toward the end of the story, he follows some Hasidic Jews to their secret hideaway. In a James Bond-like way, although with a lot more noirish edge and Yiddish swearing, Landsman creeps up on this camp of shady Hasids, discovers the secret they're hiding, a field of cows. Now, this would not be unusual aside from the color of the cows, not the black and white cows we know from a Ben & Jerry carton. These cows are red. Red cows, or red heifers, to be precise. It turns out this group of Hasids are planning not just to resurrect the Jewish law of the red heifer, but also to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem and the sacrificial cult, blowing up the mosque on the Temple Mount on the way. It's your average tale of love, Judaism, and international religious conflict. Now, it's also a bit weird and not that rational. The law of the red heifer is one of the strangest in the entire Torah, makes no sense on the face of it. But Chabon, in his novel, builds a whole cast of characters devoted to it. In the original Torah text, those coming into contact with a dead body are meant to sprinkle its purifying ashes on themselves. So you slaughter a red cow, burn it to a crisp, sprinkle the ashes on yourself. You're no longer sullied by death. It's simple, right? Not really. It doesn't make much sense. Much like the plot of the book I just described, it's not rational or logical. And for us modern Jews, it's hard for us to engage in practices unless we can explain the reason logically. Unfortunately, the red heifer is the ultimate law which can't be explained. It's got the status of a chok. You can hear the word chok in the Hebrew name of the whole portion, chukat. It simply means law, but really it's a law which is a mysterious commandment whose reason is hidden from us. Now, we can take a stab at it explaining the red heifer. We can say it's meant to be the antithesis of the golden calf, which is a palatable explanation, but not particularly satisfying. My question for this evening, though, does every aspect of Judaism, and indeed our lives, have to be rational or logical? Do we have to be objective, balanced, and deliberate all of the time? Where's the room for mysticism and mystery? Now, I know that going beyond the rational can be a bit perplexing at times. For example, our mystics had their own version of the creation story. Let me outline it now and just stay with me because it's a bit strange. Any physicists listening to this will flinch. The mystics said that God was so powerful, there was no space for the world to be created into. So God withdrew part of God's self to allow space for the world. Into that space, God emanated light in special vessels at the point of the creation of the world. But the light was too powerful for the vessels, and they shattered, mixing with the light and contaminating it. Our job as Jews is to bring together the sparks of holy light to repair or perfect the world. Now, when I tell this version of the creation story, they look at me as if I'm incredibly strange. As if to say, it doesn't make sense, it's not logical, it's not rational. Bring together the holy sparks of light, really? Well, no, it's not logical. But does it matter? If I was to say in a sentence what the main idea of Jewish mystics or any mystics is, I'd state it simply as follows: there's more to the world than we can see. There's more to the world than we can see. Mystics of any creed have no way of knowing the secrets of the universe for sure, but they speculate and explore and search the world and its inner recesses nevertheless. I want everybody here in the sanctuary to think about love for a second. Love you have for a partner or children or parents or indeed a pet. We can be rational and talk about the scientific processes which combine to make the emotion known as love. Depending on what you read, love can be down to evolution, genetics, or chemistry. But it can't be the only explanation which is satisfying. When we fall in love, our heart pounds. We do stupid things. I'm sure everybody here can think of ridiculous things that you've done for love. For me, when I think of love, actually, there's some stories I think that are out there that might be worth relating to me later. For me, when I think of love, I think of poetry, not science, reason, or logic. In the words of the Song of Songs, how fair is your love, my sister, my bride? How much better is your love than wine, and the smell of your perfume, and then all manner of spices? Your lips, O my bride, drop honey. Belief in God is not rational or logical. Jewish philosophers like Maimonides tried to make it both of those things. They attempted to prove God's existence. They went to the outer edge of their intellect, but ultimately there was no binding proof of God. As Maimonides himself said, all we understand is the fact that God exists, that God is a being to whom none of Adonai's creatures is similar, who has nothing in common with them. In other words, all we have is a feeling, a sense there's more to the world than what we see, but it's a huge challenge to explain that in human language, and a much bigger challenge to actually think about it. What are we actually doing when we're praying here in the sanctuary or on Zoom or Facebook? On the surface, we're saying we think there's an ultimate power which runs the universe, and we have a relationship with that power, but the relationship can't be proven. It can't be the same as the relationships with our fellow humans. When we sing together, we did it just now, the Misha Berach, the healing prayer, we do not think that God is literally going to write on a prescription pad in the sky, take our pulse and do a medical assessment of us like an earthly doctor. No. We are in those moments reaching beneath the surface of the world we see around us, reaching beyond, reaching above, reaching within. It's not logical or rational, and that's okay. One of the things I particularly enjoyed about coming to America is my fellow citizens have taken the time to explain American sports to me. They often slow their speech when outlining the rules of baseball or football so that I understand. One of my former congregants from Boston explained his feelings towards Fenway Park, the home of the Yankees. I'm just making sure you're still listening. He told me about connections to that field and described his inner experience when visiting it. For him, Fenway Park is a temple. He says it's an almost mystical religious awareness when he arrives. A cavalcade of inexplicable emotions take him over. It's not rational. After all, he's just going to watch 18 guys trying to hit a small white sphere with a big stick on the most basic level. But in reality, it's much more than that. There are some things in life, like the importance of a baseball field or love or the existence of God, which we cannot explain. We can attempt to explain them, but really, you just have to experience and feel those things. It's what makes them real. It would make the world a neater and simpler place if we could look at such concepts totally rationally and logically, but they're beyond that. Reason have their place, but sometimes in religion and life, we don't get neat answers. Sometimes there's just a red cow for no good reason. Sometimes we want to speculate about the mysteries of the universe, to unlock the hidden chambers of knowledge, to go beyond and above. Shabbat Shalom. Going to call now on Dana Adler to make our announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi, and Shabbat Shalom. My name is not Lori Kassman. My name is Dana Adler, and I am privileged to be a member of the Board of Trustees of Kol Ami and the first vice president. I want to thank Rabbi Malcolm Cohen, Cantor Janice Cohen, and cantoral intern Sarah Bolt for leading our services this evening. And a special thank you to Ruth Ryder for lighting our candles and for that absolutely beautiful drosh, Betty, that you delivered today or this evening. Tomorrow, Torah study will take place virtually and in person at 8:30 a.m., followed by our Shabbat services at 10 a.m. Next Friday and Saturday, services once again on Friday will be at 5:30 p.m., starting with the pre-service virtual gathering, and then next Saturday at 10 a.m. I'd like to see a show of hands. Who has never written a drosh?
Oh,
Steve,
are you in
Steve,
trouble?
Raise your hand up high, Steve. Okay. Well, we're talking about Kol Ami now. Okay. And so we have just taken photos through our secret camera. And so instead of saying, would you please contact us if you want to ride a drosh, I mean, I'd like to have my teeth pulled too, but it's a wonderful experience, and I would highly encourage you to talk to the staff, talk about what it involves, and the staff, the clergy are more than happy to help, but it really helps you, or at least I'll speak for myself, it really causes me to think differently about my words in the Torah for that week because they're for me and not for everybody else. It's a wonderful experience. So please do sign up to present a drash. And membership campaign has started to be a member of Kol Ami. If you have not returned your commitment form, please do so as soon as possible. And there will always be something happening. I know the Board of Trustees and many of the committees are planning and meeting regularly now, already in preparation for the beginning of a new school year, the High Holy Days. There's going to be lots of activities from MOCA, from WKA, and the school. So please watch your weekly announcements, and we look forward to seeing you next week and again after that. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We have a wonderful opportunity, just like we mentioned, for healing and for Kaddish. We also like to take a moment to celebrate good things which have happened. I would like to share that my family has a dining table, and that was a good thing that happened. And Rachel, our daughter, said, as we actually chose our seats, listen, this is the seat we have to sit at this table forever. And so we're all standing on spilkers around the table, just like, okay, is this my seat? If it's my seat, this is my seat forever. So I think we've worked out our configuration, but that was a great thing that happened. It would be really nice if you're at home and also in the sanctuary, if you'd like to share just a wonderful thing. It could even just be a small victory that you acquired this week. Anything positive that happened to you this week? Yes, Laurie. 25th anniversary, wonderful. Okay, great. Yes, can we have, yes, Jan?
She's a doctor now.
Oh, okay. Every Jewish mother's pride to have a doctor. That's amazing, amazing. Could we have a couple more?
Liz?
You got off it, say again?
No, have no clue.
It sounds like a wonderful moment. You're exhausted, but you feel wonderful. Okay, so lovely to hear that. So lovely to hear that. The folks on watching online, the idea was to share something good that had happened to you, and we can read a couple later if you didn't have enough of a heads up for that. But let's get
Macy.
one last one. Yes.
Mazel tov.
Okay.
They're twins, in case you couldn't tell. The other one's not here, but
Amazing.
they both
Okay.
graduated.
Mazel tov. On that basis, for all of these things, the Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Ah, ah, ah.
No, I appreciate Beth's comment on Facebook. That it's helpful to repeat people's wonderful moments for the benefit of folks at home. Thank you for that. And then I also would like to ask those watching at home if you want to add names for Kaddish to the chat or the comment section, now would be the moment so that we can read them in a few minutes' time. In the meantime, Elenu.
Page 282, please rise. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated.
Now would be the moment if there are those amongst us in the room who want to place a stone in memory of a loved one. If the grief is particularly close, then please come up and make a line and place the stone now.
No one. Yeah, where is the Kaddish list? Are there any?
Thanks. Before Kaddish, we mentioned those who died this past week. Charles Chuck Whitehill, the husband of Benita Sylvan, father of Jim Whitehill, daughter of Judy, stepson Jeff, stepdaughter Janice. Dan Gregory, friend of Marcy Blacker. Grace Irvin, friend of Nora Sevi. Richard Belkin, husband of Sherry. Those who died within the past 30 days, Irving Rosenberg, Elaine Jackwitz Shermer, Stuart Medoff, Dan Kirshner. Let me just mention those who related to. Elaine was the wife of Herbert Shermer, mother of Kenneth, Elisa Early, and Anitra Goldstein. Stuart Medoff, husband of Donna, father of Eric and Elise. Dan Kirshner, husband of Shelley, father of Gabe, Nate, and Sandy. Ken Drucker, husband of Marla, father of Mark and Aaron. Josh Aaron,
son of Trudy Haggard, son to Rabbi Stephanie Aaron, Jack Aaron, son of Maxine Greenberg, Philip Cohen, grandfather of Zachary. We also mention the art sites: Michael Abel, Miriam Abel, Adolphe Alexander, Mildred Alexander, Margie Ash, Helen Baskin, Yedidia Be'eri, Rachel Dora Bloomfield, Milroy Blowitz, Edla Brannock, Norma Brown, Clarice Cappin, Esther Cappin, Anna Cole, Eugene Epstein, Sarah Fox, James Freudenthal, Ida Gewirtzman, Theodore Gluck, Hinda Gordon, Robert Hurst, Julia Hyman, Troy Ross Ivan, Beatrice Jaffe, Bennett Kaliski, Sylvia Caskell, Mary Katz, Nathan Kaufman, Sarah Keller, Charles Cosden, Mamie Krantz, Abraham Lackow, Morton Langsfeld, Julius Leaf, May Lerner, Robert Lynn, Edith Mackler, Morris Marcus, Marion Mayer, Celia Mendez, Janice Mogenroth, Max Nodelman, Morton Plevinsky, Kirk Roda, Samuel Rubinovitz, Barney Sattinger, Dorothy Dottie Sire, Ruth Schwager, Mildred Shapiro, Ethel Simon, Sonia Sternstein, Schwartz Tudzin, Mildred Shapiro, Rosalie Siegel, Ethel Simon, Sonia Sternstein, David Tarloff, Nettie Rice Task, Lee Ulrich, and June Wallace. If there's anyone in the room who'd like to add the name of a beloved, now would be the time. Please make yourself known to us. Thank you so much. Kaddish can be found on page 294, and we say,
Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulolmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'riachu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. V'imru, v'imru, v'imru. Amen. V'imru, v'imru, v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. Our closing song can be found on page 321. And this is to welcome Rabbi Cohen. He wanted us to celebrate with joy and celebrate joyful Judaism for all. So here you go. Do Adon Olam. Do Adon Olam.
Adon
Do
Olam Asher Malach.
Asher Malach. Do Yetzir Nivra. Do Azai Melech Shemo Nikra.
ואחרי ככלות
Kichlot Hakol. Do דואה, ימלוך נורא, דואה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, בידו אף כדרוכי, אדוני לי, ולא, 2, 3, ולא אירא,
אדון עולם אשר
דואה,
מלך,
אשר מלך,
בטרם כה יציר נברא,
יציר נברא,
בעת נשא וחפצו
דואה,
כל,
אזי מלך שמו נקרא. After that, I think we need a kiddush, don't we, Rabbi?
I'll do shots with you if you want. So, just want to check if anyone here is new in the sanctuary, that we can acknowledge you.
Over there. Tell us who you are.
Okay, it's great. Wendy and Mark?
Mike.
Mike, okay. It's really great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming out this evening to join us. We really, really appreciate it.
Kiddush on page 5. Please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim. It's grape juice. It's okay. It's all yours, Rabbi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתי אבות.
Shabbat
Challah
Shalom.
and juice in the back.